more pressure was piled on Gary O'Neill after they lost last night.
Look at the statistics for Wolverhampton Wanderers. They're not good. They've won just 3 of their last 24 Premier League games since March.
I understand the noise, and I'm happy to be judged on my team's performance always, but context is important.
I like him, and I think he's been dealt a bad hand by the club.
When I arrived, the club had just managed to get 39 points in the Premier League under Julian. Since that moment, we've sold £200 million worth of players. So
there's only 2 teams in Premier League history have conceded more goals after 14 games of a season. Barnsley in 1997-98, Sheffield United last season. You know what happened to those 2 teams? Well, this is one of them. He thought he was pushed in the back. It comes back out to Doherty. They want a penalty.
He's pushed him in the face. He's pushed him over with his shoulder. It's a penalty.
I think he said no penalty. Yeah, no penalty. Gary O'Neill cannot hide his emotions.
I just think it is the Premier League. Like, you can have seasons like this.
Again, like sometimes when you're in these bad moments, it doesn't go for you. So yeah, obviously we're disappointed. There's frustration all around, obviously.
Well, they're showing a replay of Mavropanos on Bellegarde. He's asking him to wait.
On his foot. Is that a foul or is it not a foul?
Don't ask me. You know what? Don't.
A big game like today, which was a big game with not much in it, we needed some of those to go our way. They make a big difference.
I understand the frustration, and I'd be tempted to give him a bit longer.
Well, there was so much controversy in the game, and pretty much everything went against Wolves, who are in 19th. They've got 9 points at the moment. They've conceded 38 goals this season in just 15 games. The most in the Premier League, 7 more than the next worst defence, Southampton. Gary O'Neill spoke to Sam Matterface after the game on his journey at the club.
Context is important. It is important. And, if you think of when I arrived, the club had just managed to get 39 points in the Premier League under Julian. Since that moment, we've sold £200 million worth of players. So if you start at 39 and you lose £200 million worth of players, it's going to be tough. And basically every pundit that I saw last season had us to get relegated. And we were nowhere near relegation. We were a hair away from getting to a FA Cup semi-final. We went away to Stamford Bridge and scored 4 and 1 to Tottenham, won. Beat Man City, beat Tottenham and Chelsea at home. Some incredible performances. And I definitely haven't become a worse coach overnight. I'm definitely better now than I was then.
Let's bring in a man who's had a whole load of experience in the dugout at Molineux. Mick McCarthy. Morning, Mick.
Morning, Mick. How are you?
Good morning, Jeff. Good morning, Ali. I'm well. How are you guys?
Yeah, very well, mate. Look, when you hear Gary O'Neill talking there about £200 million in player sales since he arrived, and that they're not shopping in that market now, do you think about the fact that he said that about the powers that be at Wolves, he's almost prepared for the worst?
Well, he's certainly not being he's not being treated very well in terms of his budget and selling players, and bringing players in, and that's quite evident. That's as evident as the nose on my face. But you've just still got to get on with it. You know, your job is as a manager, as a coach, is to do whatever you're given and get on with it, do with it. And last year he did unbelievably well. I do think this year things have gone against him. But I will say, when you're at the bottom of the league, things do seem to go against you. And you can always look at the penalties that are not being given, which I think they could have had last night. But the defending from the corner, the defending for the second goal when I don't think it was a corner, but then the guy goes and turns his back. So you can look at everything and blame everything else. At some stage, you've got to look at your own team and say, are they doing enough as well?
I think I take your point, Mick. I mean, but I was going to ask you as well. I mean, there is a saying that decisions balance themselves out over the season or over the year. However, I'm not sure Gary O'Neill would accept that. I just think some of the decisions that have gone against his team have actually been remarkable. But the point you make is a solid one. You cannot be expecting to stay in the division if you're losing 38 goals in 15 games.
Yeah, Ali, both you and I know that those decisions, even up in the season, is completely nonsense.
Correct.
Because let's put it this way, you and I'm at Celtic, you're at Rangers, we'd get more decisions than the other teams in the league, just because of the fan base and everything that was there. I'm not saying people do it on purpose, but we all know it happens. And when you're at the bottom of the league, you never seem to get them. And it's incredibly unfair. But my point being is that, I just looked at some of the defending, some of the things that happened in the game, and you can't. It's always making excuses for players. I think the players have got to take. No, I tell you what. When I watched the Euros against Italy versus England, there was a commentator on when the Italians blocked. They blocked a shot, and then they blocked another one, and they're all high-fiving each other and all celebrating. And the commentator said, "What are they celebrating that for? You should celebrate defending, because if you let goals in, you so many goals in. That's as simple as that. If you've let so many goals in, you let one in, you've got to win 2-1. You've got to score 2 to win. You've got to start somewhere, and stopping goals is paramount for me. I know I might be. You'll say the opposite because you're a. But I love defending. I love blocking something just as much.
I know you did. Mick, I was going to say to you as well, but looking at the fixtures coming up, they're all important, that goes without saying, but Ipswich and Leicester, massive games.
Absolutely. And I think if you're going into those and if you're not on such a losing streak, things aren't going against you, you quite fancy yourself, you might be able to turn it around. But I have to be honest, and I've been in that position as a manager, you're looking at them in a very different light. You're trying to be confident, you're trying to stand up there for the players and show them that you're confident in that can win in. I'm not so sure when you're looking at them. I mean, Ipswich are in a similar position. They were winning 1-0 up until the last minutes. Mm-hmm. They're conceding goals. Leicester with the new manager have got a bit of impetus. If you keep getting beat, you can't. It's difficult to see where you're going to win. It really is.
Well, look, let's hope they give him a little more time anyway. Yeah. Nobody wants to see a manager out of work, that's for sure.
Well, I think he did a great job last year. I think he's right in what he says. He's had players taken away from him. He's a really good coach. He was at Palace for a long time. I'd love to see him get more time, as I do with all managers. I've been in that position. I tell you, every day you get in the car, you wonder when you turn up that you might be going to get the chop when you're in the bottom of the league. And it's, and there's times when I was at Wolves, I did wonder, and we stayed up twice. The last time, I think on goal difference, they did right to stick with me, didn't they? Because we stayed up and we had another Premier League. So I hope they do with Gary, because he deserves it on what he did last year.
Brilliant, Mick. Thanks very much indeed.
All the best, Mick.
My pleasure, lads. Nice to speak to you. All the best.
And you, Mick.
Cheers.
And you. Wolves fans, Brad Wolves fans this morning, fellas, O'Neill was bang on last night. What he said post-match, we sell our best players, then we go and sign central midfielder Andrew, who didn't need, because the owners know there's a profit to be made on him. We clearly needed another centre-back. Feel like O'Neill isn't the problem. The problem is at the top. And, got some good news for Gabby. Walshy, the Blue Nose in Birmingham, says, "Hi, lads. 2 homeless lads have found Gabby's clobber at Birmingham Airport." Oh, they kept the case, but they put his clothes in the bin. Even Guy Fawkes wouldn't wear them. Thank you very much indeed, Walshy. Bit harsh.
Factually correct, but a bit harsh.
talkSPORT Breakfast, waking you up Monday to Friday morning from 6 a.m. on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.